Okay, so, it's been a long time coming, but finally, we're starting Gamerathon 3.
This is it?
What?
This is what everyone paid for? This
is a pretty expensive hotel room.
This is what everyone has been anticipating? This is Gamerathon 3? I thought we were supposed to have some sort of zany adventure together.
I would love to have a zany adventure for Gamerathon 3. Trust me. I even scripted a zany adventure, but there was a slight problem. You see, when we flew over here, we started having this zany adventure that really got in the way of our zany adventure. So this is Gamerathon 3.
No one watching will have any trouble understanding what you just said, I'm sure.
Good. Anyway, our first review of Gamerathon 3 is the classic...
This movie was made decades ago, Decker. They're all classics by now.
I'm saying, the Kaiju Tokusatsu...
Same problem.
It's Gamera VS Guiron.
That clears it up.
Released in 1969, 1 year after Gamera vs. Virus, this is the first Gamera film in a while that actually does not have Kojiro Hongo in it, even in stock footage. What it does have is a big bad monster for Gamera to do battle with, named Guiron.
They could have figured that out from the title, Decker. You're really making people think that they wasted their money sending this show to Japan.
Okay, well, what do you have to say about the movie other than aliens and kaiju?
The movie stars Nobuhiro Kajima as Akio and Christopher Murphy as Tom, the two main child leads. There are adults, but as this is a later Showa Gamera movie, the kids take priority, and the largest supporting role goes to the little sister Tomoko, played by Miyuki Akiyama. As you might expect, the situation becomes fantastic very quickly, but aside from the main struggle of the monsters, there's a subplot of the girl trying to get help for her brother and friend, but running into the problem that everyone thinks she's playing a game.
Is that good enough?
Anyway, let's take a look at Gamera vs. Guiron and see everyone's favorite jet-powered, fire-breathing, gigantic, colossal, monstrous turtle.
And kids.
Enough. We open to a brief lesson on astronomy, which is surprisingly accurate for a 60s kaiju film, up until this line anyway. Unless it's on Hollywood Boulevard, that makes no fucking sense.
Japan, Decker. We're in Japan. Make references to Japan.
Run. After the opening credits are boiled alive in molten lava, we cut to our obligatory group of scientists, whom established that there was a strange radio transmission sent to Earth of unknown origins. Thus they provide the most mundane excuse not to get excited. It's our best and only hope for communicating with intelligent alien life, but fucking like that'll never happen.
They were just attacked by the alien life form Virus last year. Why is that not only improbable, but laughable?
Gamera used the monster as a speedboat. Who wouldn't laugh at that? While the scientists are feeling good about themselves not caring, our space-obsessed young stars are doing what the professionals should have tried, watching the night sky. Here they spot a glimpse of a flying saucer, and even figure out based on its trajectory where it was landing.
Akio? Akio?
But their mother shows up, meaning they can all run out and see the giant alien spaceship.
What are you talking about? It's nighttime. What's she gonna do? They can just sneak out. What? You're in a movie about giant monsters fighting alien beasts and alien ships and fucking space planets and stuff, and a child-focused fantasy. And disobeying parents is out of the question?
It's Japan.
The wrath of the Japanese mother avoided, they set out the next day for the landing site, but run into the local police. No problem, as this is actually the comic relief goofy adult character Kondo, played by Kon Omura.
Evidently, while guns are next to impossible to own in Japan, it doesn't really matter because Nerf guns are at least as powerful.
And able to pin a towel to a wall with a suction cup. Through the towel. That's impressive.
Strangely, this strategy of shoot at the motherfucker doesn't let them slip past Officer Kondo unnoticed, but gets stopped and questioned. Not much of a hindrance, though, as he only restricts them to walk their bikes to the UFO landing site instead of dangerously riding them. Oh no, A member of the film crew is out there shaking the bushes!
Or a bunny.
Well, yeah, right. And why were the stalks moving so much?
Maybe Peter Cottontail was working out with help of nature's Bowflex?
More interesting than the obvious reference to Easter I could make as it is April, the kids find a background with the alien spacecraft superimposed on it. So the boys completely ignore Tomoko's concerns and climb aboard. If that's not stupid enough, they start play flying, poking at the controls, not even bothering to slow down as they actually manage to take off and leave planet Earth.
My guess is she's going to go into the garage, activate 20 or so transformation circuits, transform the car into a giant city-crushing robot, and then discipline them all with a giant kaiju-sized Harrison.
Don't think that's maybe going a little overboard?
They're joyriding out in an alien spaceship through the solar system. What would you suggest?
Maybe Super Justice can show up and write him a ticket.
Interestingly, the kids don't actually want to fly away, but they lose control of the ship as soon as it takes off. This looks bad for them, as they are heading straight for a meteorite, but lo and behold...
What?
Aren't you going to say something about this one?
Well, I like this music. Well, it's not like Chippy Thuli's doing Power Rangers again.
Don't tempt me, Decker.
That's a relief, I guess, because get ready for the Happy Kids sing-along Gamera theme as the children have a happy little race with Gamera through space.
Okay, Chippy Thuli, do the Power Rangers music.
I'm sorry. Even Ron Wasserman cannot help this scene.
If it makes you feel better, the kids win the race as the ship begins traveling much faster than Gamera can, leaving our colossal turtle monster to scream into the depths of the void.
What?
He's roaring in space.
And?
Sound does not travel in space.
So?
Come on, you gave Mothra, a legitimate deity, hell for flying through space, but you'll give the turtle a pass for breaking physics.
It's Gamera. He's allowed.
And people wonder why I delight in torturing you.
As the children disappear into the cold of space, Tomoko makes it back to her and Akio's mother, Kuniko, played by Yuko Hamada. Sure, her son and his friend might be missing, but the girl's entire story is about them being lost in space, so who cares?
ねえ、お母さん。お母さんは宇宙船だとか宇宙人だとか信じないの？
信じませんよ。
Despite the fact that last year, Japan and indeed the entire world did get attacked by a hostile alien life and their spaceship.
I understand skepticism, but this is like nobody even bothered paying attention.
Similarly, Tom and Akio don't bother watching as they landed, resulting in the ship crashing down on the planet off-screen, where they discover that, like Earth, it has a breathable atmosphere and a big superimposed background. They also have Space Gyaos.
ギャスだ。この星にもギャスがいたんだね。しかし地球のと色が違う。
Fun fact, the monster in the scene was actually supposed to be something entirely new, but the budget was running a bit tight, so they just took the old Gyaos suit and spray painted it silver.
Which makes this the only time in the Showa-era Gamera series where an enemy monster appeared a second time and it wasn't just stock footage.
This is something to be proud of?
The real star of the planet, which oddly the kids keep referring to as a star, at least in the English dub, is the monster from the movie poster, Guiron.
That's my cue!
Okay, cut that. Not what I meant, but it works.
Seems that Guiron is even less of a fan of Ron Wasserman than you are.
It's an evil kaiju. Of course it does.
Establishing how cruel it is, it carves the Gyaos carcass up into 10-story tall bite-sized chunks before being called back into its lair. The kids then teleport around what appears to be a Willy Wonka moon base, trying to find the people of this obviously advanced society.
Alien chipmunks?
Arr.
Or alien Japanese women.
The legs.
And the chances of a non-violent encounter with alien life just fell drastically.
Interestingly enough, the writers of this planet-hopping giant Monster Brawl Kids movie acknowledged that it wouldn't make sense for an unknown alien race to just know Japanese, no matter how Japanese they look. Therefore, we get a universal translator device to explain how the kids can communicate with them. Which I guess is easier than asking the kids to talk into their smartphones.
You're assuming they'd have wireless service after a kaiju attack.
This is Barbella and Flobella, played by Hiroko Kai and Reiko Kashawa, respectively. They explain that the children have found themselves on planet Terra, which is in our solar system, the same size as Earth, and just as far away from the Sun. Just so happens to be on the opposite side, exactly, which is why we never saw it.
Ha! Bullshit. What's your problem?
Oh, aside from the fact that Pioneer 5 was launched 9 years before this movie was made and could detect things away from Earth's perspective, yeah, a extra planet within Earth's orbit and just out the other side, that does not fit into the relativistic model of the solar system.
Vulcan.
What?
Planet Vulcan. Because of the unexplained behavior of Mercury's orbit when accounting for relativity, it was proposed that another planet even closer to the Sun must exist. Scientists were so sure they even named the planet Vulcan. Insert Star Trek joke here.
Considering how in the decades since our observation equipment has improved drastically and the fact that there has been no sign of planet Vulcan since, I think you get the point.
The mass does not have to be coming from a whole planet. It could be broken up as like a asteroid belt. Small, it's harder to detect. That's the current model. Vulcanoids.
You're just moving the goalposts.
And you're about to find your tentacles roasting on hibachi.
Calm down. They named the planet after your cat. Be happy.
The space women have a constant issue with space Gauss, but show they control Guiron like a guard dog, chasing the creatures off their porch. This causes the kids to mention that if Gamera were here, he'd kick their extraterrestrial kaiju butts all the way to the Urt dude.
You would think that this would be letting the cat out of the bag, but the aliens never actually use this information.
Huh?
They're much more concerned about what they're having for dinner on their way to Earth.
その間にあの子たちが食料として有害か無害か調べて必要があれば経口食料にするのよ
Suddenly I have stopped fantasizing about time alone with them.
Really? And all it took was the threat of being killed and eaten.
Yeah, again, I don't have that fetish.
Touché.
In order to subdue the children, the alien women pry into Akio's mind, placing him in a hypnotic state so they can learn what it is he wants.
分かったわすぐ作ってあげるわね
Wait a minute, they can create food just like that?
Well, Varys could in the last movie, so why not?
Because they're sitting here talking about eating children. And why don't they just replicate up some gingerbread men if they're that hungry?
It doesn't have that crisp taste of fresh, natural children.
Or the colorful vocabulary, no less.
As Tom keeps messing up the procedure, they freeze him in place too, so the space lady can pick his brain on some more miscellaneous info, aka run a highlight reel to fill out some of the running time.
Only for about 2 minutes, though, so it's not all that bad.
I guess it's just to remind us all, like, yes, Gamera is in this movie, so just wait. The kids become unfrozen before we learn the terrifying reality. The alien babes intend to drug the children's food with sleeping powder, rendering them helpless so that they may eat their brains.
先祖代々習い覚えた知識が蓄積されている脳細胞を食べておけば
Knowledge? They're 10.
And Japanese, so there's bound to be some decent math skills in the gray matter.
Hold the fuck up.
What?
They're using sleeping powder to knock them out.
Yes?
Well, they just demonstrated that they could use miscellaneous alien technology number 42 to render them helpless at will.
But only so long as they needed to read their minds and get the information.
Which is exactly what they will get from eating their brains.
Hey, they mentioned something about bacterial evolution. You know, horizontal gene transfer. They're probably planning to infiltrate Earth by disguising themselves as Japanese. Well, more Japanese.
Back on Earth, after Kuniko assures Tom's mother, Elsa, played by Edith Hansen, that it's perfectly fine that both of their sons are missing and their daughter is talking crazy about them being lost in space, Tomoko pulls a classic axe murderer maneuver to convince the woman the story is true, and enlists the help of Officer Kondo. Still, Elsa shows no concern whatsoever for her son.
くんちゃんは信じてくれるでしょ
よし
Fortunately, an old adversary becomes an unlikely ally.
They're on a completely different planet. What the hell's he gonna do?
Believe the little girl's story. While the whole world thinks you're insane, that alone can be a heroic act.
On planet Terra, the aliens provide the banquet of powdered donuts and disturbing white liquid that is obviously not milk. Akio downs his own sleeping drug so fast, Tom generously offers him half of his own knockout medication, though strangely they still both fall unconscious about the same time.
Did they just play that video backwards?
Sure. They did the same thing earlier with the waterfall in the big Guiron reveal.
Well, yeah, I understand that with the waterfall, but this was just a kid sitting in a chair for brain extraction.
Someone in the editing room just learned how to do it and was showing off. Kinda like your brief love affair with green screen.
They used the Nerf razor to shave the boy's head, because damned if they're gonna have a hair in their soup. Suddenly this feels dangerously close to Gorehound horror territory before Gamera shows up. And thank fucking Godzilla for that.
You're the horror guy. You like this sort of thing.
In horror movies, with horrible people being killed in horrible ways. I might not really like these kids, but that's going a bit far. Predictably, the girls send Gurion in, and we get the second big monster brawl, but the first we probably care about, Gamera vs. Guiron.
Ouch. That's gonna put him out of commission.
What are you talking about? It's Gamera. He's the big hulking turtle monster of power and will.
Manifest an ocean out of a jump cut to wallow in failure?
Fuck.
And you were saying brain surgery would have been out of place in a children's movie.
On the topic of the youngsters, Tom comes to before long, and trying to figure out what is going on, learns that the space women intend to eat he and Akio's brains. With that in mind, he wakes his friend with a concussion and solves his hair crisis with a hat. Their escape is thwarted, however, when the space women track them down and force them into a cage.
From which they can eat their brains?
Oh, what? I thought you didn't want to see that.
I don't. I just would really like for some, bad guys to actually have some consistent logic sometimes.
In their attempt to escape with the conveniently established dart gun, the boys accidentally free Guiron from his cell. The monster doesn't score too high on the loyalty side, trashing the spaceship and preventing the alien women from escaping to Earth.
Which shows they could have just gone in the first place.
But then they wouldn't have had the brain powers.
Which they don't have because they did not eat the fucking kids who are in no position to protest.
Could you just enjoy the movie?
Could the movie make some fucking sense?
私たちの星では役に立たなくなった時死ぬことになってるのよ。
I'll take that as a no.
There are only 2 of them left in their civilization, and she just killed 1. I think I finally understand why the planet was unsustainable.
Gurion takes his anger out on the remaining buildings before the movie reminds us that Gamera only goes to the ocean floor to take a breather and then returns to battle far more kick-ass than before. Gamera, trying to give you some leeway here. You're not making it very easy.
This is killing you, isn't it?
I quite liked it. Who would have thought a colossal turtle monster could be so graceful? Now I wonder if it knows how to make a little curtsy.
Anyway, this battle is still quite hard, and Gurion poses a threat to the children once more, so they mess around with the controls, finding the handy missile button. The kids just killed the alien girl. And not only that, they exterminated the last remnant of that species and are directly responsible for its extinction.
Yes.
This is why even I tread carefully around the daycares. They are dangerous creatures.
With that out of the way, Gamera takes another missile and shoves it right into Guiron's face, defeating the monster with style. He then proves he's still got it when it comes to arts and crafts, using his fire breath to repair the ship, making it space-worthy enough to carry the two boys all the way from Terra back to Earth.
Might have helped if you had explained that at the beginning of the movie instead of trying to come up with an excuse for an awkward character trait at the 80-minute mark.
In a movie that's only 82 minutes long.
Bringing our story to a close with the children safe and explaining that it's because this planet sucked and was home to two killers, they should just stick to Earth as it's way better.
Besides, they have that awesome giant turtle monster kicking around.
Gamera flew to Terra just fine. He doesn't have to stay in Earth.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he has roaming charges.
Anyway, that was Gamera vs. Guiron.
It has its moments.
Gamera vs. Guiron is a very by-the-numbers kaiju film, and that doesn't exactly work in its favor. The focus the movie takes as being directed towards kids seems to mean the overall quality was allowed to wane, making everything feel a bit lacking. The best part by far is Guirion's design. The quadrupedal monster is unique enough with some exaggerated traits that help the critter be memorable and interesting, if confusing abilities. But the plot line of alien life wants Earth and sends giant monster to go get it, even when this film was new, had already been done more than its share of times in this genre alone. Overall, Gamera vs. Guiron is a fun enough distraction for fans of the style, but doesn't stand up so well on its own and probably wouldn't addict anyone to kaiju anytime soon, coming in at 2 brain-sucking space babes out of 5.
The biggest flaw of this movie is the fact that it is very predictable. There's not really a whole lot going on here that feels original or different. That's not a bad thing by itself, but if you've seen Gamera movies before this one, it's going to feel very by the numbers. Aesthetically speaking, the design of the planet Terra does come across as slightly more unique, and the exploration scenes with the two protagonists is at least enjoyable. Overall, Gamera vs. Guiron isn't a bad film, it's just not a very good film either. It falls somewhere on the mediocre side of things, but it can be a nice distraction if you're looking to waste an hour and a half of your time. Ranking 2 giant space turtle dance numbers out of 5.
It was a fun, albeit strange, movie.
Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado. And remember, children are small and relatively weak. You can just hold them down and eat them.
Don't remember that. Cut!
ねえゴンちゃん宇宙人にもゴンちゃんみたいな人がいるのね